Hello everybody and welcome back to the chassis variant series for myself, Critical Rocket, and we're on to the mediums of the clan mechs, until the Piranha comes out that is, and we're kicking off with the Viper, because I felt like the Viper deserves it over the Arctic Wolf, being it's been around a little bit longer, and you don't see them as often as you do some of the other clan mediums knocking about these days. It's actually one of the more trickier kind of weight classes for the clans, because their heavies are relatively quick and well armed, and their lights are pretty powerful, whereas the mediums seem to get left out a bit. You don't see as many things like ice ferrets, dragonflies, those kind of things as often as you do mechs like Hellbringers and Ebon Jaguars and stuff. But the Viper was obviously built to be incredibly quick. The whole point in it was that it could cross huge distances of the battlefield in relatively short time and be able to bring its modest firepower to bear very quickly into hot spots and then move out to another location. It was originally built by Clan Firemandrel, which are one of the lesser used clans. Whether they're lesser known depends on your affiliation with the tabletop or not. If you obviously have played it, you will know who the Firemandrels are. They're generally a bunch of assholes, and if you don't, then Firemandrel will be something you never ever see in a MechWarrior title, basically, because I don't think they have anything to do with the Inner Sphere. So yeah, it's built by them, but Ghost Bear were the ones that really brought it to the Inner Sphere, as they got a number of them in a it wasn't a trial. I believe they made a deal with Firemandrel to allow them to build the Executioner for several runs, and they got the rights to build the Viper. It was all very amicable. So yeah, the Viper A is built around a pretty sturdy and solid setup of 5 ER mediums and a single SRM-6. And 4 of these energy hardpoints are mounted in the side torso, so you've got 2 in each, 1 on the right arm, and your missile is in your left arm. So it's a pretty straightforward design. It ties the C variant for the highest number of energy hardpoints available on the Viper, but the main difference being that these are side torso mounted, whereas the Charlie version is arm mounted, but that has ballistics, so yeah, it's a bit of a trade-off. I quite like the A variant. It has really good potential as being a solid little energy boat, although I actually struggle, to be honest, to come up with something that would be more effective than the 5 ER mediums that uses the missile hardpoint. Possibly some kind of ATM build with lighter energy weapons supporting that, like an ATM-12 possibly, and then using that to do most of your punch and the energy weapons to act as harasser, or possibly going heavier on the weapon side and ignoring the missiles in the first place. But one of the main strengths of the Viper is the fact that it's so bloody quick for a 40-tonner. It's a staggeringly manoeuvrable little mech, great number of jump jets. It can reach those hard to reach places on maps very quickly, and it can get you out of a tight spot very fast. I've always been a fan of the Viper, as I'm usually a fan of some of the lesser used battle mechs on MWO. Usually because if they're disliked for some reason, then it's always there must be a little gem in there that you can dig out. And I always like the Viper just because it's an unusual looking design. And yeah, sure, I'll admit, it's not the best. I mean, there are better clan mediums out there. You only have to look at things like the Stormcrow or the Nova if you want to go particularly heavy on energy weapons. But at 40 tons, and for this level of speed and agility, it's pretty bloody good. I would recommend having a go at the A variant if you haven't tried it. Obviously, if you do have a Viper already, the Viper Prime you might have picked up, remember, just buy the Omnipods rather than buying the whole mech if you just want to try out the loadout, as the tiny amount of XP that you get for having a full Omnipod set is virtually non-existent. There's no real reason to bring it. So yeah, I'd recommend it. It's a fun little mech. I think there's good energy boat potential there for a 40-tonner, and yeah, you know what? I actually don't remember how this match ended. I had a really rough time recording Vipers on the day. I did this over the weekend, which makes this the first official chassis variant recording of 2018. Unlike the Hellspawn, which, although that was the first chassis of 2018, they weren't the first recorded this year. So yeah, the Viper is actually 2018's first MechWarrior Online recording for me. But I can't remember whether we won or lost this one, so I'm going to stick with it to the end. But yeah, I had a really tough time. It took me about 12 rounds before I actually got a recording I was happy with. I was getting a lot of very low damage rounds, or just ones where I'd just be on a team that would just get washed pretty quickly. It'd be like 12 ones, 12 nils. Didn't really feel like the fight lasted, because my criteria for these is not that I do brilliantly, not that I win or that kind of thing. I mean, a win is nice, but if it's a good fight, it's a close match or whatever, and we lose, I don't mind showing that as long as I've got enough footage to be able to talk about the mech. And in this case, I think we win this one. Yeah, it looks like it's about to end. Hey, there you go. So, frame rate dying at the end because of the LRMs. So, anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good week, and I'll see you next time. Bye!